beating Josh Langdon. Nick Meredith, what did you make of the chances throughout the first half and the performances from both teams?
I don't think Melbourne Victory really created what you would call a gilt-edged chance. They had a couple of half chances. They had the free kick there. It was a decent strike by Curta. Gold Coast Knights really only had... they probably had two really good chances. One was a deflection you'll see off this cross here. I'm pretty sure that was goal-bound without the block there. And then they had... Obviously, you'll see in the highlights package in a minute, they got their goal, but they've acquitted themselves really well. Melbourne Victory have had some joy down the far side of the field from our commentary position there. They've had a couple of long-distance shots, but they really didn't trouble the keeper at all. I think there's a bit of a sameness about the Melbourne Victory players. A little bit too much sideways and not enough penetrating balls from a couple of their midfielders. This is the goal. This is a fantastic header from Tapaldo. He moves really well. He looks a good athlete. He's had to do a lot of work off the ball defensively. He's worked really hard, but that's a fantastic header. He really made that his own. From the goalkeeping point of view, I'm not so sure that it was a great effort in goal by Tyson, but yeah, there was a lot of people in there, so it was difficult.
An absolute dream for Kai Tapaldo as we have a look at the halftime stats. Melbourne Victory dominating the shot count, however, both with the same on target. Also holding a majority of the possession. Gold Coast Knights playing tough, playing hard, and they come out on half-time with the advantage.
Yeah, they certainly haven't gone into it overawed. I mean, Scotty McDonald's in charge. He certainly would have got it into them that they're good enough to get a result here. They've got a lot of experienced players in their team that have, Mitch Nichols and that have been around this level. They'll tell the other players that haven't that you're good enough, get in there and show what you're about. They'll also see that this is not the prime Melbourne Victory starting 11. There's some younger guys and they'll think, we're good enough to win this, and they're certainly showing that in the way they've gone about things.
On the round of 16 of the FFA Cup, we've got plenty of more action to take to for the second half. We'll have to come back in just a moment with throw two and goals of the FFA Cup so far. About that, what a first half here at Gold Coast Croatian Sports Centre. Brilliant performance from the Gold Coast Knights. They lead Melbourne Victory, the A-League opposition, 1-0. And we are back underway for the second half of this round of 16 clash. What do we have on our hands here for this second half? Is a cup set brewing? As the Federation side, Gold Coast Knights currently have the ascendancy over A-League opposition. Campbell Johnson taking you through all the action alongside Nick Meredith. Nick, what do the Victory have to do to get back into this one? And what do the Knights have to do to hang in there?
Well, the Victory certainly did need to do more with the possession they've got. They've had, the majority possession, as you would expect, but they really haven't created a lot of chances. I'm getting more involved in this as I get older in the stats of football, and you've got to get the ball into certain areas, and they don't seem to, they're not doing that. So they're making it difficult on themselves to actually create scoring chances, and I think they need to be a lot more incisive when they're going forward.
Is the ball in now, punched away by Tyson. Nichols, what a hit that was. But a brilliant block from another experienced campaigner in Lee Broxham.
Yeah, that looked goal-bound. I think it was a few appeals for handball there. It's hard to see from where we are, but he certainly hit it well, Mitch. Jared Tyson came out with the fist. Yeah, he struck that real... No, it's come off Broxham's knees and that by the look of it, an excellent block.
Another one in. Knights knocking on the door to make it two, but Tyson out to claim. Plenty to do for the Victory.
Having a think about this young Victory team at half-time, and they play in the Victorian NPL 3, which... that's not ideal. I mean, this is a good NPL side from Queensland, and they should be... The Melbourne Victory youth and the Raw youth up here play in the NPL. I don't... And so does Sydney FC. They play in the NPL, and so do Western Sydney.
They can't get relegated.
No.
Well,
you need the young players playing at the highest level of competition. I think that's something Football Victoria need to address. Melbourne Victory, Melbourne City, Western United, their youth teams, they must be playing in the highest competition they can. NPL 3s, that's pointless. They're playing games, but they're wasting games in a lot of ways. They need to be playing in NPL. I think that's something that needs to be addressed quickly in Victoria. Because when you actually sit back and think about it, the Gold Coast guys are used to playing at a higher level than a lot of these Melbourne Victory guys are.
So perhaps Victory have to meet the challenge all along, and they'll have to do plenty in this second half, this second stanza. Starts now. Nichols. Tapaldo. It must be said, the Melbourne Victory travelling or diasporic support here in the Gold Coast has been very vocal. And that comes as no surprise with the active support the Victory have in the A-League as well.
Yeah, they're the best fans in the league. And it just shows in the last month or so since they've been back on top. And
Tapaldo.
And looking a real force again, just how enjoyable the games at Amy Park have been, and listening to those Melbourne Victory fans. Western Sydney, obviously, if they can get back on track, they're fantastic fans as well. But I think the Victory supporters have been the benchmark since the league started.
And in numbers too.
Yeah, fantastic numbers. I mean, they're very passionate. And, you know, they get very good numbers to a lot of their NPL games as well. I know Preston, who are in NPL 3, were getting 2,500, 3,000. So, look, there's some, obviously, great passion for the sport. And to see Victory need to be up the top for Australian football to be thriving. To see them back up where they belong, I think it's a good thing. And that's hard to say from someone in Queensland.
It is real football when you see the passionate supporters cheering on their team. Kurda. All the fans here at Croatian Sports Centre be enough. As Nichols giving away the foul on Ishak. As things stand, no changes at half-time. See Mitch Nichols just coming across and clipping him. I don't think any yellow cards given so far. I believe 8 fouls.
No, Chris Beast handled it well. There hasn't been any real flash points or anything. He's handled the game well.
Barnett. He's looking for options ahead of him. Closed down, out wide now for the Victory, and certainly not the delivery they were hoping for. Leighton Brooks unable to chase that one down.
Yeah, the Gold Coast Knights will be happy with them getting out wide and just swinging in hopeful crosses. They've got a couple of big boys in the middle, so that shouldn't worry them at all. Victory have got to create something different than what they're doing now. The challenge for Gold Coast will be how long can they sustain this tempo. They don't look to be struggling fitness-wise at all at the moment. I guess when you think about it, the NPL competition up here didn't finish till I think it was in November. They might have had a couple of weeks off, but they obviously knew they had this challenge up, so they've recruited, and these guys have probably kept their fitness levels up. So the gap may not be as bad as I initially thought it would, because they certainly don't look to be struggling physically at the moment.
If I've gathered anything from Scott McDonald and how he's been training this side, it's certainly haven't really had too much of a rest as Bramora now brought down. No foul given. Christian Bramora has looked very good so far in this one, especially his energy, pressing forward, putting pressure on the Victory back line. Coming across there, able to head it, but it will be a throw-in. And the Melbourne Victory substitutes warming up. I wonder who will come on. Margiotta will most likely be the first name and first number. On fourth official, Alex King's board of substitutes. Martin.
Down. Let's go,
able to find Bramora, the Victory fans. There's plenty of banter in this one. You love to hear it. The Knights, at the moment, will have the last laugh. Whether that will be maintained, time will tell. Tony Pompovic's side will certainly have something to say about that. Belupale into Laurie Latanzio, makes it 1-1, and we have a level game. at Gold Coast Croatian Sports Centre. The Victory bite back.
Yeah, it's the class on the field that showed out. Lovely little run by Tenzio in behind. He's just playing in between the defenders there, made the lovely little run in behind, but it's the ball through to him that was the class. Just didn't pick it up on the replay there, but Robbie Cruz got his head up. Just got a little bit of extra time that quality gives you when you're on the ball. You see the ball played in there. Sorry, it wasn't Robbie Cruz. I've got that wrong. It was Valupale, so I got that completely wrong. Apologies. That's a fantastic ball through. He really lifted his head up and beautifully weighted pass, and that's an excellent finish. So Victory needed that one. They didn't want to let this drag on too long into the second half without a goal. So let's see what the Gold Coast Knights can do now.
We are level. Things are getting spicy here on the Gold Coast. Tony Popovich up and about.
I'm just looking from here now. Valupale and Robbie Cruz look almost identical, so it's no shock I made a mistake there.
Laurie Latanzio putting himself into the back of Austin Ludwig there. He's playing with a lot more confidence now, is the youngster. The Adelaide local. Nichols. Good hold-up play initially by Bramora, but
Vicky, get it together!
Nichols won't mind me saying speed isn't exactly his strong suit at this stage as Brooks pauses, blocked by Schmidt.
No, look, Mitch was never a flying machine, and as you get older, you certainly don't get any quicker. But the young boy at the back for Melbourne Victory played really well. Panku, he gets himself in clever positions. Looked quite good on the ball. His passing forward is good. Nice size of a lad too, so he looks like he's a player.
Coming forward now for the corner as well. Looking to replicate Kai Tapaldo's goal in the first half up this same end. Kurta to deliver. The 19-year-old. Headed away by the Knights. Valupale. Kurta. Now in again. And away by De Silva, who's looked strong on debut. Kurta once again. Plays milling in the box. Back post. Down in the box. Scramble. Must be cleared and is by Martin.
They've got to be strong here for the next 5 or 10 minutes. Gold Coast Knight, what they don't want to do is give away. They've given away their lead. Now they don't want to fall behind. They don't want to be chasing the game. That's when your Melbourne Victory will look to pick them off with some runs in behind by these younger, quicker players up front. They just want to be strong here for the next 10, 15 minutes and make sure they're still in the game.
Lovely back heel from Valupale, but a strong challenge from Tyson Martin. Stops him dead in his tracks.
One thing about the Gold Coast Knights, they're working really hard and they're working as a unit. When the ball's on one side, they're pushing across. They've obviously been well drilled by Scott McDonald. They were, on paper, a good side up here in the NPL last year, but they were, don't want to use the word, but they were a lazy team to watch. They didn't work hard. He's obviously refreshed the squad, and it looks a hungry squad now, and they're working as a unit, and they're set up really well.
Fair bit of turmoil over the past 2 years for the Knights. Had Gray Pittock, a championship-winning coach, with them, led them to the championship in 2019. Following year, was sacked after a loss to Sunshine Coast Wanderers, who at the time were relegation fodder. Managed to stay up in the end. Adam Porridge, the head of football, then took over. We'll get back to that in a moment as Valupale. The challenge coming in from Tapaldo. Valupale, how's this for footwork? Strike, handball not given there against De Silva. Natural position. And a player down in back play. It is Matt Schmidt. Tyson Martin able to clear. Matthew Schmidt still down.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. I didn't pick it up. I don't think he was the player that blocked the shot. Maybe he was, and it looked to me like he was holding an ankle. They can ill afford to lose him. They've had a bit of trouble down this side. He's been left isolated, not really through any fault of his own quite often, and they don't really want to have to reshuffle him.
Crucial to how they want to play, that is for sure. But for the Knights, had Adam Porridge, the former Sheffield Wednesday player, and then relieved himself of his duties, still at the club, bringing in Max Ragg to finish off our most recent season, and now Scott McDonald coming in, a new dawn for the Knights, a new era.
It's interesting, just before we were talking about, I was waffling on about Melbourne Victory and that being in NPL3. Well, our colleague Daniel McBreen just sent me a message. Newcastle Jets playing NPL4.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. Where are all the good young Newcastle has developed a whole host of really talented young players. They shouldn't be playing in NPL4. There's an NPL competition in Newcastle. You know, you've got the Edgeworths and that of the world. Get them in that competition. This is nonsense.
Those at the FFA listening.
Probably not.
Nick Meredith with the blueprint. Matthew Schmidt will come back on. Looks to be okay. He'll be wanting to give everything he can. Now one apiece. Just about 60 minutes in. Ishak unable to get past Kai Tapaldo. Broxham. Right, Lepanchu has looked assured at the back for the Victory. Plays the ball over the top now. Only into the waiting arms of Josh Langdon. Lovely touch from Tapaldo. Brown. Schmidt back onto the field. Ingham has to get past Lepanchu. Does well. The young centre half. Schmidt's touch letting him down, but Ingham able to find it. Real estate agent by day. Brooks. Laurie Latanzio.
A real estate agent on the Gold Coast. What do you drive in, a Bentley?
I think it was an Aston Martin.
Yeah,
actually.
probably.
Negro. Out wide. Tanzio. Kurda. Ishak winding up. Blocked well by Tyson Martin, the former Brisbane Raw youth product. Ball over the top. Martin reads it well, stops it in its tracks, and wins the foul off Robbie Cruz. It must be said, the Brisbane Raw only train about 500 metres away.
Yeah, across the road here. They train on the Gold Coast and play at Redcliffe, which is the best part of 2.5 hours always. Certainly not an ideal setup from for the Raw, but it is what it is, and at the moment they train on the Gold Coast.
Da Silva heading it away strongly. Ingham now central. Brown blocked by Broxham, showing every ounce of his experience.
Yeah, he did well there, Lee Broxham came over and timed it well. Would have been a bit of controversy if they'd scored, because I'm pretty sure it was a handball in that phase of play there that got them through. But love the little ball over the top, and Broxham just using all his experience. And yeah, he reads the game really well. He's played nearly every position on the field. And yeah, very timely challenge.
Obviously no VAR as well, and it did look like a little bit of a handball from Jai Ingham to Paldo. Knights waking back up, believing once again. Da Silva. Be a very talented centre half. Ludwig beaten by Brooks. Shoulder to shoulder, Brooks twisting, turning, putting it across the face. Tyson Martin able to meet it and turn it away. Kerdar not over for the victory. Cruz, Barnett. They fluff their lines. Brooks here. Handball shouts from the victory players and travelling support. Ludwig. Bramora. Cleverly. The ball played over the top. Broxham not troubled.
Yeah, I think it was handball, actually. I think a bit fortunate to get away with that Gold Coast. Tyson Martin's done well in the second half, a new acquisition. Now, he played for Brisbane City earlier in the Cup, but I think there's been some dispensations for these guys to be allowed to play.
So the way it works is if you can only, the way you're cup tied at this stage, we know things are changing, end of the NPL seasons and Federation seasons. If you've played in the round of 32, you are not eligible for any other side. So if you played in qualifying, absolutely good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. And, it's a different world we live in at the moment, so that makes sense.
It was a question on a lot of people's brains, myself included, and clarified.
I obviously knew the answer. I just wanted to educate
Just testing me.
The public and that as well. Yeah.
Barnett. Cruz. Negro, the fullback, overlapping.
Stefan Negro, a disciple of Bradley Charles Stubbs, the coach whisperer. And if you've heard of the coach whisperer, look him up. Did an awful lot for Stefan Negro's career. Well known to people in the NRL and that in the northern states. A very interesting guy, and he's had a huge influence on Stefan Negro's career.
I'll have to have a look at that one later. Barnett. Kerdar. Valupale. Kerdar going down. Nichols winning it back. Bramora. Bit of attention from Broxham. Ingham. Marked by Negro. Both players there. Former Brisbane Roar.
I was about to say, I think the Knights are going to go to their bench soon because they're just starting to look fatigued. They're sitting deeper and deeper, and it looks to me like Scott McDonald's going to bring himself on.
Certainly getting ready.
First thing you do as you get tired is just sit deeper and deeper, and they're taking a long time working their way up to halfway, getting out of defence now. They need some fresh legs, and they need a little bit of leadership on there, but I did notice Scott McDonald has almost been in his civvies all night. He's now getting himself changed, so he's going to come on. I'm not sure who else, but it looks like it could be a double change. They need some fresh legs. Yeah, they need some fresh legs, the Gold Coast.
Foul was given away, and Alex King, our fourth official, looking to get things ready. Scott McDonald wearing the number 12. He'll have a few words to his side.
He needs to find the right colour shorts too. He's still got blue shorts on, so that'll be interesting. Little effort.
Them underneath. And
there you go.
You can't put that on telly.
Geez, that could have been embarrassing.
Jeez, Scott McDonald. Buy me a drink first.
Well played. Well played, Scotty McDonald. Interesting to see what changes he makes here. I think Jai Ingham would be the one I would bring off. He looks really fatigued to me. Maybe push someone else out wide in his space.
Looks like Margiotta also getting ready. Aleki
like
Ingham as well, brother of Jai Ingham.
Yeah, it looks like Bramora looks to be heading over there as well. Maybe he's coming off, but I thought he could be a threat out wide as well. So interesting to see what he does here. But yeah, Jai Ingham would be the one for me. He looks to be physically struggling.
Fittipaldo leaving the field of play.
That's interesting. He was very good first half. He hasn't really seen as much of the ball second half. Maybe all that work he did in the first half has really left him with some tired legs.
Aleki Ingham on as well. Brother of Jai Ingham. Now, Scotty Mack on the pitch. Assured everyone he wasn't lacing up the boots this season. It may just be a cup appearance. It is an appearance nonetheless. Francesco Margiotta getting ready to come on, and the goal scorer, Lori Latanzio, coming off. So both goal scorers now off the field. And reinforcements coming on. Giant still on.
Margiotta will certainly pose a different threat to the Gold Coast Knights. He's an experienced player. They will certainly need to concentrate with him around. Starting to look a bit ragged, as that ball showed there from Langdon, but just looking a bit tired in the legs, particularly the back line are taking a long time getting up the field. So it'll be interesting to see what he can get out of them.
I think Langdon will want that one back as we kick on again, and it's getting lively here at Gold Coast Croatian Sports Centre, home of the Gold Coast Knights. 20 minutes to play. Valupale delivers all the way across. Looks like Jaden Walker now playing the left wing-back position.
Yeah, it looks like they've had a significant reshuffle, the Gold Coast. Haven't really seen them in... hasn't really been a break of play to see where they are actually set up, but it looks like he's come out to the left and Smith's gone into a more central role, and Young Ingham's out on the right-hand side. That looks to be how they've reshuffled things.
Potentially a front two as well, with front three. Ingham, McDonald.
Definitely a front through with McDonald up there now playing alongside Bramore to just give him support. Joe Ingham's pushed rather forward here. I think that's just a set play, so I think he's going to continue to play a bit deeper.
McDonald with his first involvement going down. One of Network 10's own. You can see him on Paramount Plus and Network 10's A-League coverage. The new home of Australian football, as Valupale has been very impressive today. Back inside, Margiotta with his first touch. Strike blocked. Brooks delivering again. They get a touch, they're able to clear it. Knights breathe once again. Not over for the victory. Kurda able to free himself. And the tension is rising. Still 1-1. Cup set still very much on the cards. But the victory building into this game. Negro just too far ahead of Robbie Cruz. Langdon to take the goal kick. They're able to beat Edge Hill. They're able to get ahead of the victory. Martin heading it down only into the path of Cruz, and Margiotta, is he onside? Takes the first time strike and straight into the waiting arms of Josh Langdon.
I reckon if he saw it on replay or he hadn't looked back at that Margiotta, the chip was really on. Langdon was a long way off his line. I hate to see the game stop because someone's got cramp. I mean, you can't top... The ball's been... Cramp's cramp. It's not life-threatening. You know, it's not a serious injury. It's because he physically is unable to continue because he's got a cramp. Let the game play on, and when the ball goes out, then you can attend to him. There's too much of this going on. I mean, it's quite easy for someone to say, oh, I'll just lie down and pretend I got cramp too. I just don't like it. Maybe it's old school, I don't know, but you just see it too often.
Lepanchu halting the counter-attack there. Nice, we're ready to spring. Gets back up, restores the electrolytes perhaps.
See, look at that. I mean, that's just... Gold Coast are on the breakaway. They've got the ball, they're on halfway, they're attacking. They've got the advantage of a victory player unable to stand up and play the game.
Player down as well for Knights. Looks like De Silva. With the same. Being stretched out by his gaffer and Bramora.
Part of football is as the game goes on, it becomes a war of attrition. You've got to athletically be able to compete. And if you can't actually physically run for a couple of minutes. Well, in my opinion, bad luck. You haven't copped an injury through contact. It's just you're physically unable, and that sorts out the men from the boys and the better athletes from the not so great athletes at times. And I just think it's something that's crept into the game. I mean, the cramp was just play on, and I think it still should be.
And a reminder, the cup competition, we will have extra time if required. McDonald going down once again, getting the treatment from Ishak. And the attention, Margiotta. Flag goes up on the near side. Chris Beath eventually halting play. De Silva. Alecki Ingham in a right wing back. Schmidt now playing as part of the back 3/5. Walker. Ingham. Brown. Tyson coming out.
Oh, that was an opportunity. They've done so well down there. And just too much weight on that ball from Jai Ingham. Brown made a really incisive run in there. And if the ball was weighted well, he was on for a first-time shot. Just overhit by Jai Ingham. But that was a good opportunity.
Max Brown's such an exciting player to watch.
He's done really well. His work rate's been tremendous. He's the one picking up a lot of the loose scraps, and he's side to side. He's all over the place. And he's got some energy because he's worked hard, and he made an excellent run in behind the Victory defence. There's the run. These are the runs at this time of game when fatigue's starting to set in. You can see it. If you're a midfield and you've got the engines to run beyond the defence, you can make some real good opportunities for yourself and your teammates.
He's got a track record of scoring goals. 11 goals in 2020, 13 in 2019. Can he get on the score sheet tonight? Crucial cog for the Knights. Cruz. Well met by De Silva, who goes down once again. He was stretching out the cramp just before. And does once again. Coming up from Victoria, perhaps not as game fresh as the boys from Queensland.
It's a fair point. A lot of those guys have missed a lot of football over the last 18 months to 2 years. But you can't hold the game up for this. He's a foot off the byline. Just roll him off and get on with it.
The Victory now with a chance. 15 minutes to play. Front post headed. Brooks puts it wide. And a credit to all the supporters for coming out here tonight.
Yeah, fantastic roll-up. It's certainly the biggest crowd I've seen at this venue, and it's one of my favourite venues in the LPL. It's a perfect little boutique stadium. I think they've got more development plans ahead as well. They've got a bit of room on the other side, as you can see. And it's a super little venue, and it's great to see the crowd turn up.
May it continue. Brooks playing it down. Shouts of a handball from the patrons, but not given by Chris Beath. McDonald looking to show his experience and class. By far the most experienced on the park today. Nichols. Brooks. They would get around Max Brown. De Silva. Scott McDonald. Plenty of time in the UK. Plenty of caps for the Socceroos. And a cult hero at Celtic. McDonald unable to get past Curda. And you wonder if you'll see Scott McDonald turning out in the NPL as well. I'm sure fans of the local game would love it. That's a beautiful ball from Brooks to Cruz. Unable to find him, and that's a sloppy challenge for Matt Schmidt, and he'll see yellow for his efforts. Just going in.
Yeah, you can't have any complaints there. Robbie Cruz got the better of him. Nice turn of speed Robbie Cruz has still got, and he's coming from behind him. There's no arguments there. It's a free kick and it's a yellow card. getting to the, we're half an hour into this. I mean, he's down again with cramp here. Now, less than a minute ago, he made a forward run. So if you've got cramp and you can't defend, don't make forward runs. I mean, if he goes down again, it's getting to the point of being ridiculous.
They do have a 16-year-old Roman Engel on the bench as well, defender. Very highly thought of by Scott McDonald. But Victory to deliver. Kurda, back post, all the way across. McDonald shoulder to shoulder and brought down by Lipanchu. And a little bit of pain here.
Yeah, that's probably a yellow card too for me. He's had no intention other than he's a quality young player from what I've seen tonight, but he had no intention in just barreling Scott McDonald over there, and I thought that was probably worthy of a yellow card as well.
Do you think for those experienced players, as we have another look here at the replay,
Yes, back
into the back?
I think one thing Tony Popovich will be disappointed is their delivery from set pieces. They've either overhit them or underhit them. They really haven't threatened the Gold Coast at all. They've had numerous chances. There's a bit of niggle going on there.
Lipanchu, Jayim stepping in and protecting his coach, his former side. Tempers flaring here at Gold Coast Croatian Sports Centre.
He's probably going to get himself a yellow card out of it. Jai did throw his hand out there. I don't know what that's all about.
Not what you need at this time of the game from Jai Ingham. He'll get a talking to from Chris Beath.
Not much in it though. I mean, there's nothing too sinister or nasty about it. It was just an old bull talking to a young bull and telling him a few realistic things or a few realities, I think. I don't think he was obviously too impressed with the challenge down the other end, but yeah, pretty well handled by Chris Beath.
No yellow card?
No yellow card. He maybe was a bit lucky not to get one, but yeah, it's not world-ending either way. Let's just get on with it.
See how that develops in this final 10 or so minutes.
Well, it's getting to the stage now.
Regulation.
It's getting to the stage now. If you can get a goal, you're almost into the next round.
Change here for the Knights. Bhavan Atwal coming on. Former Brisbane Raw youth player, new signing as well, coming over, played with primarily in the 23s for the Brisbane Raw youth, in the NPL 23, so not in the first team a whole lot, primarily off the bench when he did play. And he now gets a shot for the Knights. And Scott McDonald, Brooks, De Silva exiting the field as well. Across, strike from Argiota. Kurda sets himself, shoots over the target. Yeah, knocking on the door.
He'll be disappointed with that, Kurda. He really needed to get on the target there. We get a little bit more rain again now. The surface will be nice and slick, and you've just got to hit the target. There's that's probably their best opportunity from inside. That's the area where you really need to get the ball in. That's where your goal scoring stats really go through the roof. If you can get into that area, and you've really got to hit the target. They're the opportunities. At this time of the game, there's only 10 minutes or so to go. That, gives you every chance of going into the next round. So disappointing finish in that situation.
Have to have a look at the XG after this one. Expected goals.
Just on De Silva, I probably gave him a bit of stick for the cramp, which is not his fault. That's the referee for stopping the game. But I thought he was excellent. He looks like a really good acquisition for the Gold Coast. You said he's moved up here for work. That happens a lot in this area. But he looks like he's going to be a really good addition for them in defence.
Really showed his class so far. It will be a welcomed addition for Scott McDonald. I'm sure he liked what he sees. Now Bhavan Atwal, the midfielder, in. Looks like he's playing in the right wing-back position so far.
I don't know if you heard that, Campbell. They just announced the crowd here was just under 2,500. So to all the Gold Coast people and the Melbourne Victory fans who are probably up here celebrating New Year's Eve and the like, fantastic effort, well done, as the rain just becomes a little bit heavier.
What a New Year's celebration that would be for the Knights if they can get up against A-League opposition. Under 10 minutes of regulation, you start thinking about extra time here. Schmidt does well. Bramora in front of him. Negro does well to track back. Lovely ball over to Brooks. Barnett can't pull it in. Looks like he's pulling up a little bit gingerly. Bramora, McDonald. Good ball out to Ingham. There's the move inside. Can't get around Curda.
I'm a bit surprised Melbourne Victory players getting cramped, to be honest. I mean, most of these guys are in almost a full-time environment, and it's certainly not a hot night. The conditions are very football friendly. It's probably, you know, it's in the teens now, I'd say, and there's a breeze and there's some showers. I'm a bit surprised. I'm not surprised with the Gold Coast boys, but we're going to be here till sunrise will be on in the morning the way we're going. I mean, we'll see the sun come up.
You're right about the weather. Certainly not a steamy Queensland, humid night.
No, not at all. It's almost ideal football conditions. And I don't know, Chris Beast's got to get a handle on this. As I said, we'll be staring out as the sun comes up if we keep doing this. And you know, there's obviously the possibility now of extra time. We're only probably 7 or 8 minutes away from that. Although there's going to be a hell of a lot of added time, you would think, with all these stoppages.
Ishak down. There will be plenty added on. And as the game goes on, the Victory fans get louder. The Croatian Knights fans start to sense a little bit of excitement.
A bit disappointing, the Knights fans, I've got to say. Haven't heard much of them.
Not as verbal.
No, the clubs with Croatian heritage in Sydney and Melbourne certainly make themselves heard. So come on, you Knights fans, do a little bit better than this. Maybe they're eating $10 chips.
I wouldn't be too enthused. There's Schmidt.
$4 for a can of Coke too. That was a bit steep.
Ingham unable to find out well.
Looks like Victory's got another couple of subs about to come on, some fresh legs.
Plenty of youngsters in the squad getting some game time, looking to prove themselves. They'll be given that chance. A good opportunity.
Both coaches now are probably thinking, well, there's a fair chance we're going to go to extra time. We're going to have to be careful with our subs and who we've got available, because physically players are tested now. When they get that extra time, they're going to really struggle, some of them.
Saw the Melbourne Victory draw their first game as Cruz trying to slide it past Langdon, who does really well to come out, close the angle and stop the strike. Foul given against Barnett there.
A brilliant goalkeeping from Langdon there. I thought Cruz was odds on to score there, but came out so quickly and narrowed the angle and did an excellent job. He's done really well in goal tonight. She said he was one of the form keepers in the NPL up here, and just look how quickly he comes out and spreads himself there. Also some good work. I think it was Smith that came across as well that gave himself a knock. So desperation is what you need.
He's got hands on knees and substitutions for the Victory. William Wilson on the field, and I believe Zayden Bello will fill in it right back. Bello. Brooks. Locked well by Schmidt, who's had a stellar game for the Knights. And Victory sent their first game of the FFA Cup into stoppage time against Perth Glory, or into extra time, I should say, and eventually to a penalty shootout. Victorious in that one. Jared Tyson taking a penalty in it, spraying it wide, but saving one to win it. Will they have to repeat that here on the Gold Coast? Galupale has impressed Cruz. Galupale trying to get out of traffic, and Negro there to assist. Nichols giving away the foul on his opposite, number 16. We have another look on the replay. Knew what he was doing. Mitch Nichols.
Yeah, he did know what he's doing. He's racked up the fouls, Mitch. I don't think he's had a yellow card yet, has he? So he's probably got away with a few. He must be getting pretty close.
Atwell. McDonald looking to get more involved, dropping deeper, storming through midfield. Out wide for Ingham, can't track it down. And how about this for a lineup? Jai Ingham, Scott McDonald, Mitch Nichols. It's a good side for the Knights.
Yeah, they've certainly got some names. So I don't think Scotty McDonald's going to play much in the NPL this season. I think he'll concentrate on a coaching career. That's the path he wants to go down.
Mirza Maradovic coming onto the field. Christian Bramora exiting, who's played a really good game today.
Yeah,
He'll certainly excite Knights fans.
Yeah, he's done a good job. He's definitely a good athlete. He worked hard. Maradovic will be a different challenge for Melbourne Victory. He's almost a polar opposite of the player he's replacing. He's more in and around the box. He's got quick feet. He's quite creative, as we saw with the Raw and when he first came in, and then he moved on and went to Wellington, I believe it was, and he's quite clever in and around the box. So you don't want to, as players get tired and mental fatigue comes into it as well, and you just give a player an extra half a yard or a yard, he's certainly one that could take advantage of it. Like to see the ball, get the ball into his feet as much as possible.
Former Brisbane Raw and Wellington Phoenix player was with the Knicks last year as Valupale in an acre of space here, an absolute paddock. Opening things up, met well by Bhavan Atwal. McDonald trying to go down the line for Mirza Maradovic. Can't find him. Things perhaps not working out for Mirza Maradovic at the Brisbane Roar or the Wellington Phoenix, but he gets a shot here for the Knights. Nichols. Walker making a good run in space on the far side. McDonald. Ingham, in fact. Maradovic. Walker in that space. Inside Maradovic, the substitute on debut into Walker. And it goes begging.
Oh, what an opportunity, and that's just what I mentioned Maradovic. That's what you want to do. Get the ball into his feet. Don't dive in at him because he's creative, and he picked out a lovely little pass there, and if he just slowed himself down, the ball got stuck under his feet. Really clever from Maradovic, and oh, it was a great opportunity. Gets it down, rolls it into the far post, game over. That was a great chance.
Ooh, big challenge on the far side, big contact, hands in arms. Tyson Martin and Valupale colliding. Martin sees yellow.
Yeah, it was a tired challenge. Committed himself to go for it and realised he wasn't going to get there, and he certainly wasn't going to chase. But that an excellent second half. Tyson Martin, a guy that we mentioned earlier, really needs to reboot his career, but on the showing he's made here today, particularly defensively, hasn't got forward at all, but he's been resolute in defence in the second half when the Gold Coast have needed him.
Tyson Martin scored in the FQPL Grand Final to beat Southwest Queensland Thunder. And AJ Kelly Park had a great celebration as well. Going to the corner flag.
Certainly looks like the Victory staff are not happy at all with this challenge. Tony Popovich talking to Chris Beath and Alex King, the worst job in football, the fourth official. You cop it from everyone when you got that job, which makes no sense because you can't change anything. But
you're not making the calls either.
Oh, mate, that's the worst job in football, being fourth official. But yeah, Tony Popovich and his staff certainly weren't happy with that challenge.
Do not envy him. His partner's in attendance as well. Nadine Keese plays in the NPLW here in Queensland, played for Olympic this year. Recently signed for Gold Coast United.
Didn't know that.
Fun fact for you.
Yeah, fun fact.
I see they live just at Tweed. Now back underway, round of 16. Football here for the FFA Cup. Gold Coast Knights hosting Melbourne Victory. Wilson. Chance for Margiotta. Brilliant save by Langdon. And that's got the Croatian fans up on their feet.
Excellent save by Langdon. He's had a really good second half in particular, made a couple of crucial saves now. these are the areas the Victory need to get the ball in. They got fortunate, it was a deflection, but Margiotta there, he's shown in a few games already. He doesn't need much opportunity to get a shot in, and that was excellent save there from Langdon.
That is top shelf from Langdon. Kerdar, front post, headed away. Roxham, Velupale, delivering. Langdon out to claim, takes it. Chest mark for the goalkeeper. Not far from Metricon either, the home of the Gold Coast Suns. And that is full-time regulation. Just 4 minutes added on, and we will be going to extra time. A war of attrition here. Regulation ends a goal apiece. And how do both sides get ahead of the other here?
On the soapbox again here, I'd love to see the FFA Cup go straight to penalties in these situations. I think the extra time, we all love a cup set and making it as, you know, not difficult for the A-League club, but to give the NPL clubs and the lower division clubs an opportunity. And this is going to make it really hard on them. And, you know, another period of football. Whereas I think if we went straight to penalties, you know, especially in that last 10 minutes of the game, you'd really see people trying to get a winner. So, but anyway, look, we've got, you know, a period of extra time now, and I'm amazed at how many Victory players are struggling physically. I've found that quite surprising. Not surprised at all with the Gold Coast there in their off-season, but they're holding up pretty well physically. Just a little bit of qualities now is going to win it. And so who are the quality players on the field? Obviously, Muradovic has come on. He's looked sharp around the box already with Scotty McDonald up there. And for the Victory, you've still got Robbie Cruz, Margiotta. And I must say, there's a young fella that's come on that I know, my ignorance, I know nothing about. Zayden Bello that's come on and played on the right back here. But, man, he is a good mover. Any of my Victorian friends want to tell me about him. He looks like he can really play. This was a good period for Gold Coast Knights. Here's an excellent volley from Mitch Nichols, really well blocked by Lee Broxham. The technique in modern football, you've got to get your hands out the way. He got down and made himself big.
Have a look at the second half highlights, I should say. Ball played in. This was a crucial one. Able to get back in the game. The ball from Velupale, sublime. Latanzio able to tuck it away, level things.
Yeah, excellent goal. One of my commentary highlights there, getting the wrong player again, so that'll go down well. But yeah, look, it was an excellent finish. Robbie Cruz didn't get involved, which I said he did. So, but this was a really good opportunity here for the Gold Coast Knights. Excellent ball through. Just Lee Broxham showing his experience, got across there, and there's been a few tasty challenges, but well, nothing too malicious. It's just been a good, hard-fought game of football. I think you see on the replay there, if Margiotta would just dink that ball over the top of Langdon, he was a long way off his line. Yeah, it's just another challenge there. This is the opportunity I think Victory will really should have scored there. He's certainly got to hit the target on a slippery. This was the chance for the Gold Coast Knights in the last few minutes. Muradovic with his clever feet and vision around the box, and he played him in a lovely ball. And just in the last few minutes, we saw Langdon with a strong hand push across the shot from Margiotta. But look, it's pretty even. Victory seem to be getting them better of the chances now. But look, if the Gold Coast can nab a goal, then the pressure really comes back on. I'm not so sure physically what they've got left, but we'll certainly see in this first period of extra time.
And the Victory have certainly built back into the game. They were behind the 8 ball, obviously, on the scorecard, but also in the general games play. But the second half had a lot more for them. Yeah,
they created more opportunities. They got the ball into better areas. Still, some of the balance of their midfield, there seems to be a little bit of sameness about it. Barnett and that in midfield, they all look a little bit similar to me, but look, they've worked hard. They're young guys. They're trying to make their way, but yeah, there's a little bit of sameness about them, but they've just had that little bit of quality with the ball that was played in for the goal, and that's got them back into it. Fortunately for them, they got it quite early in the second half. I think if it would have gone on another 10 or 15 minutes, then the Gold Coast really would have grown in confidence, and it would have made it very difficult for them. But look, let's see what they've got to offer in this extra time period.
Well, mammoth task for both sides here as we're back underway in round of 16 of the FFA Cup. Gold Coast Knights hosting A-League opposition in the Melbourne Victory, top of the A-League at current. And we are into extra time, first half. This is exactly what you want to see, a lovely touch from Margiotta, Robbie Cruz. Margiotta forced out wide by Atwell. Velupale. Certainly had a good run today. Velupale across the face into the side netting. And it will be a corner.
I think it'll be Tony Popovich when they do a video analysis again. There'll be a lot of coaching material there for when they're getting into these positions near the byline and the Gold Coast. Now, they're almost all the time drilling the ball at the near post. Someone needs to get their head up and look. There was a player completely unmarked near the penalty spot and things like that. You've got to get your head up in those situations.
Broxham with the strike, deflected and off the post. Does not get closer than that. The flag's gone up and an offside called. We have a look here, headed away, sat up Broxham with the strike and came off. Believes Aiden Bello there, and it was Brooks, in fact.
Yeah, it wouldn't have counted, but Lee Broxham, not known for his goal scoring, that was an excellent technique. He hit that well, but would have all been to no avail if it had gone inside that post.
A slight heart attack for the Knights. There they wake up. Here in extra time. So much to do for them, for both sides. Not too many outfield players left on the bench. The war of attrition begins as the Knights go on their crusade to slay the Giants in Melbourne Victory. Cruz lets it run. Margiotta Langdon, sensational. He's been top shelf today.
He did very good coming off his line. He's read the play well. A lovely bit of play there by Victory with Cruz and Margiotta, but very quick to react there, Langdon. A little bit of a slippery surface probably helped him. It just skidded on a little bit more than what the Victory boys expected.
Lupanchu.
Tell you what, I've got another complaint. There's some bloke down here having a cigarette, and tell you what, I can smell his that. It's not great. All these grounds were non-smoking venues nowadays.
Thought so too.
I'll find him.
1980s stuff here at Gold Coast Croatian Sports Centre.
It's a young girl vaping. There you go.
Jeez. Have a load of that. It is the Gold Coast. Margiotta setting himself up, striking into the arms of Langdon. Have a look at the replay here. Margiotta.
He's shown some quality since he's come on, hasn't he? I think that's 2 or 3 good, challenges to the keeper and shots he's got in. Now he gets into the right areas for sure.
Walker doing well on Brooks. Martin. Good ball into Walker in a more advanced position now. Nichols. McDonald inside of him. They have Atwell out wide. McDonald tries to play it forward, met well by Wilson. Headed down by Margiotta. We've seen that a few times now. It's brilliant from the Italian as Cruz storming forward. Nichols, we've said a few times that he's testing his luck, and he gets yellow on that occasion.
I'd say, and that was pretty cynical on Robbie Cruz. I'm not sure he really needed to do it. It looked like Tyson Martin had good positions. Probably an unwarranted free kick, really. I don't think... He's starting to look a bit weary, I've got to say, Mitch Nichols, and that's the sort of thing you do when you're getting fatigued.
95+ minutes of football so far in this one. Curda standing over it. We saw him take one earlier. Get close. Looks to be in a more area of delivery. Headed away by Martin. Cruz blocked by Brown. Back for the Victory. Strike from Wilson. Bello. Wilson outside of the butte. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a good finish from the young man, but Joe back to the set piece, and it's a terrible header by Tyson Martin. the one thing you don't do as a central defender or defender in your own box is head the ball down and into a central position. That's his job. He's got to head that high and away, but he's headed straight down to the edge of the box. A little bit of to and fro in possession, and the young guy with a fantastic finish was in the moment he hit it. But Tyson Martin, you've got to be disappointed with that. Look, he's had a really, really good second half, and it's hard to put too much blame on him. But you just watch here, it's a little bit before that, but the ball gets rolled out here, and it's an excellent strike. He's hit it with the outside of foot, got a lovely bit of tailor in the top corner, and Langdon had no opportunity there at all.
William Wilson, take a bow, young man.
But that's what happens when you're fatigued. It's come from a little bit of, a silly free kick given away, a poor defensive header, and then you give a quality player an opportunity, and he makes the most of it.
The Victory now with the ascendancy, showing their class, despite plenty of youngsters being out there. Margiotta, Bello, in the box, dancing around. Cleared by Aleki Ingham. Bello. Wilson running on. He's grown a foot since that strike. Beautiful outside of the boot. Negro. Velupale. Velupale deflected wide. A brilliant hit. He's been a different gravy today. As Nishan Velupale sets up. Goes wide off the deflection.
Yeah, we've seen him make an impact in the A-League. He looks a promising player, and he certainly hit that well, and he's set up the equaliser, so he's definitely had an impact on the game.
Koda. Front post claimed by Langdon off a bobble. Perhaps thought Brown was going to clear. Landed in his lap.
I'll give the benefit of the doubt there and say he called for it, but it did look a little bit like it was almost a disaster.
And now the Knights have to throw absolutely everything at this one. Lovely from McDonald. Brown's able to get a touch on it and send it wide. Walker, Ingham going wide. Bello marking him. Nichols buys himself some time. Nichols inside, gets the return ball from Maratovic and stumbles over there. Does Mitch Nichols the switch here from Schmidt. McDonald. Tyson collects.
Tyson got very lucky there. Scotty McDonald's obviously not the tallest player, but he made a good leap and a good challenge, and Jared Tyson loved the commitment to come and get it, but if a goalkeeper, you've really got to claim that. You don't want to be getting any sort of knockdowns like that. He got a little bit lucky.
Good opportunity for the Knights. Player coach Scott McDonald urging his side forward, leading from the front. Do not go anywhere. This game's got plenty of juice in it. Ingham.
Looking for royalty-free music? Discover Epidemic Sound. Get the safest music subscription for content creators with over 35,000 tracks.
Now silence it. Croatian Sports Centre. Bello rising. And always was. But a good hit nonetheless.
Yeah, it's worth a try. Obviously he's got to get his head over that and certainly get his knee over the ball. Technique wasn't ideal, but look, he's certainly within range, and gee, he looks a talent to me. He certainly moves really well. And as I said before, I don't know anything about him, but certainly looks like he can play a bit.
Played for Green Gully prior to his time at Melbourne Victory, the 19-year-old. Zayden Bello, Falupale on the far side. Just down, getting a little bit of attention from the physio. Plenty of football being played here. Time wearing down the players. As expected, Langdon. Wilson, glancing header. Brooks. Running and running and running. Wilson. Bello. Cuts to the byline, delivers. Back stick, Atwell heading it away. Cruz out wide. Continues his run. Has Atwell marking him well, and this is a good run here from Velupale back on the park. Blocked well. Muratovic getting back, does well to get away from the oncoming Negro, wins the foul. Off the fullback.
Yeah, it's a silly foul there from Stefan Negro's going nowhere. The Gold Coast are struggling to get out of their own third at the moment. You just don't want to foul them there. You want to make them really play their way out.
Tyson Martin almost giving away possession there. Can count his lucky stars. Cruz. Victory slowing things down here. They've still got plenty of time to play. Nichols out of danger. Brown sends it long, rocks him on the chest. Still in play, not in the end.
จะตัดคลิปยังไงให้สนุกมารู้ว่า
Not long to play in this first half of extra time. Martin has Atwell on the right. McDonald, Muratovic. Reverse pass, McDonald just getting a little bit too far under it.
Yeah, he did.
Over the target.
He did, and he also had the opportunity to play in the overlapping fullback here, and a bit of a wasted opportunity, but clever interplay between McDonald and Muratovic. You can't really see it on the picture there, but just to his left, just see him come into the picture there. He had Walker, who made an excellent overlapping run. I don't know. I'd like to see how many kilometres he's covered tonight, but could have really, they really had opened up the Melbourne Victory defence.
Someone get that man Strava up. Certainly getting his 10,000 steps for the day. Jaden Walker. Tyson. Wow. McDonald holding things up well, going to ground, still holding on to possession and winning the foul. After all. Him inside, Muratovic.
Adobe Premiere Pro ในการคลิปแบบปกตินะไม่ได้เป็นเชิงเอฟเฟกต์มาก
McDonald cleared by Lupanchu. McDonald able to get a touch on it, but just putting it into the path of Velupale. Has Cruz with the overlap. Margiotta on the other side. Margiotta sets himself up, dinks one inside. Strikes, finds its way to Robbie Cruz, who would have been offside.
That was the last thing Robbie Cruz wanted. He
got nutmegged.
He's just about exhausted. He had his hands on his knees, and Margiotta mishits a volley straight at him. That's one positive for Melbourne. Well, they're in front, Melbourne Victory. Another positive, they're going to get 120 minutes into Robbie Cruz's legs, so that'll be something that they'll be pleased about.
Scott McDonald wearing one. Played plenty of tough football in Scotland. Almost considers himself a Pom.
Scots are not Poms.
Correct.
Geez, you'll get some hate
in the
mail.
UK.
You'll get some hate mail over that.
Regardless, he was celebrating and watching the cricket with them at the Gabba. In there with the Barmy Army. Tyson under pressure. Nichols.
Scott McDonald was in with the Barmy Army, was he?
Correct.
That's disgraceful.
Have a word.
Oh, that's terrible. Shouldn't have that. he should be marked down as a foreign player now.
เอาแอปพลิเคชัน KineMaster มาใช้บนคอมพิวเตอร์โดยที่ไม่ต้องกังวลเรื่องโปรแกรมเถื่อนไม่ต้องกังวลเรื่องไวรัสนะคะ
Time added on
มาดูกันค่ะ
here for the first half of extra time. Things slowing down the tempo.
สำหรับใครที่ฝึกใช้แอป KineMaster
Settling a little bit.
ในแท็บเล็ตนะคะ
Energy being sucked out of the
จอ
legs
มั
of
น
the
เล็กเกิน
players.
ไปใช่ไหม
Yeah, they're not going to get anything out of just hoofing balls in like that, the Gold Coast. They've got two diminutive guys up front there in McDonald and Muradovic, and they've shown already that if you can play the ball into their feet, they're going to create an opportunity. So that's the way for the Gold Coast to get themselves back into the game.
That is half-time on the first half of extra time here at Gold Coast Croatian Sports Centre. As Gold Coast Knights trail Melbourne Victory 2 goals to 1, 1 goal to 2. Plenty to do for the NPL side. How do they get back into this one, Nick Meredith?
Well, as I said, they've just got to try and get the ball into the feet of the two guys up front as much as they can. Joy Ingham, I give him credit. I thought he would last half an hour. He didn't look to be in match condition, but he's kept grinding away and he's providing an outlet for them. But just try and keep that ball into the front two as much as they can. Tony Popovic, I was just watching as the Victory came off, and he was not happy at all. He was really drilling into a couple of the young players that he wasn't pleased. And look, Tony sets a very high standard, great attention to detail, and if you're not doing it, then he's going to let you know. And Scott McDonald on the same side for the Gold Coast, obviously he's setting fairly high standards for them, and you can see the highlights there from that first half extra time. Great hit from Lee Broxham and Margiotta, who's looked a little bit of a class above when he's come on up front, particularly he's created opportunities. He's not a super athlete or anything, but he's very clever. And this was the goal, came from, I thought it was a defensive error from the Gold Coast, but take nothing away from the young fella. That's a great strike. It was in the moment he hit it. He knew exactly what it was going to do. Perfect technique, and that's given him the lead.
We are back underway. Second half of extra time. Melbourne Victory currently lead 2 goals to 1.
ขั้นตอน
Plenty to
ต่อ
do
จากนี้ที่เราจะไปทำกันเนี่ยผลลัพธ์ที่
for
ได้
the
จากการ
Knights.
ใช้บนคอมพิว
Both
เตอร์
coaches
มัน
animated
อาจจะไม่เสถียร
throughout.
เท่ากับ
One of
การ
them
ใช้ในมือถื
out
อ
on
ห
the
รือว่า
park
การ
in
ใช้ใน
Scott
แท็บเล็ต
McDonald.
นะคะแต่ถามว่าทำได้ไหมนะคะที่
Margiotta,
จะเอาไปใช้บนคอมพิวเตอ
the
ร์ทำได้แน่นอนค่ะ
Schmidt able to clear.
วิธีการติดตั้งบนคอมพิวเตอร์นะคะเราจะต้อง
Sending it
ไปดาวน์โหลดตัวนี้มาก่อนค่ะที่ชื่อว่า
half of the way to Dreamworld.
Blue Stack นะคะอารมณ์มันจะเหมือนกับการยกแอปพลิเคชันใน Play Store ขึ้น
Will be a
บน
throw
คอ
in
มพิวเตอร์เพราะฉะ
for
นั้น
the
ถ้า
Victory.
เราอยากจะดาวน์โหลดแอปพลิเคชันที่อยู่บนมือถืออยู่ในแท็บเล็ตนะคะมาใช้ในคอมเราจะต้องดาวน์โหลดผ่าน Blue Stack ค่ะสำหรับวิธีการดาวน์โหลดนะคะให้
This
เรา
is a
เข้าไป
true
ใน
test
Google ค่ะแล้วก็พิมพ์
of
คำ
both
ว่า
sides.
Blue Stack นะคะ
McDonald. Two veterans.
แล้วเราจะเลือก
Broxham,
ที่มีห้อยท้าย
McDonald.
คำว่าดาวน์โหลดค่ะ
Giving each other plenty of
จากนั้น
attention
นะคะ
there.
เราจะเข้ามาในเว็บไซต์
Bello. Smart ball into Valupalo. Gets in front of Lecky Ingham.
ทีนี้เนี่ยให้เรามาสังเกตดูตรงนี้
Negro going down off the contact from Bava and
สี
Atwal.
เขียวคำว่าดาวน์โหลด Blue Stack
Perhaps a touch
ให้เรา
soft.
กด1 ครั้งได้เลยค่ะ
Foul.
Yeah, just a
Given.
tad late. There's not much in it. But
ปุ๊บนะคะตรงข้างล่างเนี่ยเขาจะมีดาวน์โหลด
Have another look. Well, just a touch late.
his first touch got him in trouble there. That's where it came from.
Bello continuing his run. Margiotta
เราจะพิมพ์ไปเลยค่ะ
being a good creator
จากนั้น
for
นะ
this
คะ
side at
เรา
the
ลง
moment.
ชื่อเข้าใช้โดยใช้ Gmail Google Play ได้เลย
Still getting in good areas.
เราจะพิมพ์
Wins the
ชื่อ
ball
แอป
back high.
Master ลงไปตรงช่องค้น
Brooks
หา
running
ที่อยู่
on.
ตรงมุมด้านขวาของเราได้เลยค่ะ
Kurda.
จากนั้นนะคะให้เราลงชื่อเข้าใช้โดยใช้ Gmail Google Play ได้เลยค่ะ เราจะพิมพ์ชื่อแอป KineMaster ลงไปตรงช่องค้นหาที่อยู่ตรงมุมด้านขวา จากนั้นนะคะเราจะกดที่แว่นขยายสีฟ้าค่ะ
Nichols.
หน้าตาของแอป KineMaster ให้เรา
Back inside, McDonald.
และดาวน์โหลดได้เลยนะคะ
Ingham.
เราก็คลิกที่ปุ่มสีเขียวได้เลยค่ะ
Joy Ingham. Came
พอเรา
through
ดาว
with
น์โหลดเสร็จเรีย
Olympic.
บร้อยแล้วนะคะให้เรามา
Brisbane.
ดูตรงหน้าจอคอมค่ะ
Before making his breakthrough with the
จะมี
Raw.
แอป KineMaster นะคะเราก็ทำการดับเบิล
He's
คลิก
back on the ball now.
ก็จะขึ้นมาเป็นหน้าตาที่เป็นข้อความต้อนรับการเข้าสู่แอป KineMaster
There's a good ball. He just needed someone to attack it there. But you know, as people get more fatigue, you're less likely to get it. Just Andre. I mean, he was pretty unlucky. I think the Raw should have picked him up earlier, 2 or 3 years before he got his opportunity. He was a standout up here in the NPL competition. And yeah, I think he was unfortunate not to get his opportunity and had more opportunities than what he's had.
Perhaps the Raw learning slightly from their mistakes by recruiting the skills of Jez Lofthouse and Co to help out with this A-League season. Obviously not going to plan at the moment.
No, and he's another one that, yeah, personally I think he should have been in their squad for a couple of years now. Just in the brief time we've seen him so far, he's looked to be a really good addition to their squad. He just offers something that not many players do. Not many players now want to get the ball, turn and run at players and that sort of thing. And Jez does that. He's a great addition. Even if you just use him for the last half-hour games, he's something different. And we need to encourage players like that.
Extremely talented young forward is Jez Lofthouse. Be able to see him progress in the Isuzu Ute A-League, Paramount Plus, Network 10, and now a substitution for Gold Coast Knights. Coming onto the field, number 25, Luke Beckwith, was on the bench for their last FFA Cup clash against Edge Hill United up in Cairns. And unable to continue is Jaden Walker going off with cramp. He's been sensational all game long. We mentioned before that the grass he's covered. Artwell going down after some contact. Not given. Velupale. Nichols. Now a chance for the Knights. Nichols. Artwell. Back in the box across the face. Put wide by Broxham. Hands on heads for the Knights.
What about Lee Broxham? What a professional. When he first came into the league, people thought he might hang around for a few games. He's just been absolutely faultless here tonight.
Brown with the strike only into the Victory defender.
He's probably prevented 2 goals just by his positioning and his desperation to get there. And if any young player wants to see what determination and professionalism can get you, Lee Broxham's the example. He's played, you know, best part of 350 games for the club, and he's just played every position just about that the club's needed. Whenever you name a squad, Lee Broxham's going to be in it, because if you've got 3 or 4 injuries or whatever, he'll fill that spot. Never complains, just gets on with it. I think he's a perfect example for young players. He had a fantastic career, and I'm sure when he first came in, no one thought this was the career Lee Broxham was going to have.
When he came into the side back in 2006, is when he made his debut. The first player to amass over 300 appearances for the club. Now over 400 in all competitions. An absolute warrior utility.
Absolutely, and he certainly wasn't the most popular player with Victory fans when he came in, but I'm sure he's won them over now just by his performances. He gives absolutely everything, you know, no matter what he's asked to do.
I think it's fair to say he'd be in the Hall of Fame for the Victory. Brown. Ingham. Has Schmidt looking to deliver. McDonald rising into the defender in Negro. Ingham. Now the Knights. Starting to click here in these final half of extra time. Nichols, back stick, Beckwith rising, heading into the back of Negro, who is down, surged forward and crashed in to the defender.
He certainly crashed in. Lovely ball by Mitch Nichols. That's a perfect little ball, just hung up in the air and come and attack me, but he was certainly late, and that was, yeah, it's clearly a free kick, and probably he's lucky that's all he got. But clever ball by Mitch Nichols, and just that little quality at the end there, that's what they need.
Velupale. Lovely ball in for Margiotta if he stays onside. 1-on-1. Misses the target. Does Margiotta. Much to the delight of the Knights fans. And a change for the Victory as we have another look. Another sensational ball from Valupale. That's two now.
Yeah, he's
at the very least.
Absolutely. He's physically spent Valupale. He's had cramp a couple of times, but his quality of pass and his selection of pass has been excellent. And you know, if the Victory don't get out of this with a win, that's the moment they'll look back and think, what if? Because Margiotta, you would back him to score there. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, but just rolled it wide of the post. But yeah, look, 9 times out of 10 you'd have expected him to score.
Leighton Brooks, the local lad, leaves the field of play. Thomas Lambiris replacing him.
ทีนี้ก็มีหลายคนติดต่อเข้ามาว่าเอารูปภาพเอาคลิปวิดีโอเข้ามาตัดต่อยังไงเพราะว่าพอคลิกเข้าไปปุ๊บเนี่ยโล่งหมดเลยมันไม่เหมือนกับในโทรศัพท์เลยนะคะและอีกปัญหาหนึ่งก็คือเวลาซื้อวิดีโอที่ตัดต่อเสร็จแล้วเนี่ย
Manages to take a touch just a little bit too
ใครก็
far
หา
ahead of
ไม่เจอ
himself.
แบบเนี้ยซึ่งใครที่เจอปัญหานี้อยู่นะคะแฮมพาคลิปนี้เลยค่ะเอ็นจะมาสาธิตการใช้งานคร่าวๆนะคะพร้อมกับ Export ก่อนเนาะ
Martin.
You can transform your videos from looking
Nichols.
like an 80s home video to
Schmidt
a
lets
modern
it
day
run.
Hollywood blockbuster.
Ingham dropping
And
a
you
little
can do
bit
that
deeper to create lovely ball
by
back
adding
for
animated text to your
Nichols.
videos
Over the
just
top
like
and
this.
way over.
And you
Scott
can even
McDonald
add full-on video animations that look something like this.
pressing.
Videos is a
Garrett
simple
Tyson.
drag and drop animation system that gives you a professional finish to your videos for a low
Wilson.
one-time fee. And
Finds
that
the threat.
professional quality means your
Forward
videos
for
are more
Lambiris.
engaging,
Can't
they
find
get
him.
more likes, and ultimately
Lovely from
you make more
Kurda.
sales.
Continues his run.
There's hundreds of
Margiotta
templates to
trying
choose
to
from,
find him, but he
as well
will
as
be
music
offside.
and fonts, so you can get creative
Had a good
with
run,
just a
just
few
mistimed.
clicks.
Yeah,
And
but
all
unlucky
you
there
need
was a nice
is
passage of
video.
play. Just on the young
So
guy
why
that scored the
settle
goal, Wilson,
for
he's added
homemade
something in the
quality
Melbourne
video
Victory.
when you can
Every
create
time he gets the
professional
ball, he's looking to
content
play
starting
forward.
right
He's trying to
Click
threaten
here
Gold Coast all
to
the
start
time. You need to have
transforming
someone like that in your midfield. You just don't want sideways. You need someone who wants to be incisive with the pass, and he's certainly looked to do that on a lot of occasions.
จะเห็นว่าข้างล่างเนี่ยจะมี
Big
จุดสี
challenge
จุ
there
ด
from
ใช่ไหมคะ
Bello on Jai Ingham.
ให้เรานะคะใช้ลูกศรเป็น
Foul
แป้น
given.
พิมพ์ที่เป็นแสง
Another look on the
ลู
replay.
กศร
Clever by joining him there. He
ซ้าย
didn't,
ขวา
not really sure he was going to go, but he's got his body across and made the young fella foul him there. So an old head there. He
กดซี
knew
ครั้
that
ง
physically he
นะคะ
probably wasn't going to get there, but he just
แล้วก็
got his
จะ
body
ขึ้น
in
มา
a
หน้า
position
นี้
that
เนาะให้เรากดซ้าย
forced the young fella to foul him.
A reminder that the winner
ถ้า
of
ขึ้
this
น
matchup
โฆษ
will
ณาแบบ
advance
นี้ก็
to
ก
the
ดกากบาท
quarterfinal
นะ
and
คะถ้าใคร
face
ไม่อยาก
Adelaide United. Jai Ingham
ที
to
นี้เราจะมาเริ่
deliver
มต่อ
on
วิดีโอกัน
target
แล้วนะ
just
คะ ให้
wide.
เรากดที่ปุ่มสีส้มค่ะ
And your
แล้ว
heart
ก็มาเลือก
breaks
ขนาดอัต
for
ราส่วน
Gold
วิดีโอ
Coast
ที่เราต้อง
Knights.
การ
Another
นะคะ
close opportunity for them.
Yeah, super ball in from Jai Ingham. That's a nightmare for a defender. He's really whipped
โอ
it in
เค
with some pace.
ตอนนี้จะมี
It's
ปัญ
probably
หา
bounced
เกิด
2 or
ขึ้น
3
ก็
yards
คือ
out from the
สำหรับ
Gold Coast
บางคน
from the
บาง
Melbourne
เครื่อง
Victory
นะ
goal.
คะ
They just needed
จะ
someone to
ไม่
get on the
มี
end of it. And
มีเดียไม่มีรูป
must have got
ภาพ
close
ไม่
to
มี
it
คลิ
there.
ป
I think
วิ
it
ดี
was
โอ
Brown that
ที่
was launching at the far
อยู่
post. I might
ใน
be
แอ
wrong,
ปพ
but
ลิเค
he
ชัน
got pretty
นี้
close to it.
เรา
So
จะต้องไปดึง
fantastic
เอา
ball
รู
in
ป
there.
ภาพ
Couple
ดึง
of
เอาคลิป
deliveries
วิ
from
ดีโอ
Jai Ingham
จาก
have
ใน
been
คอม
top
พิว
shelf.
เตอร์เข้ามาอยู่ในแอ
It's
ป
not
ตัว
what you'd
นี้
expect
นะคะ
from that position
ซึ่ง
as
วิธี
well.
การ
A
ท
direct shot.
ำให้เราเข้าไปในโฟลเดอ
Perhaps
ร์
love to
ค่ะ
get into the box for some tall timber.
เปิดเป็นหน้าต่างอันเล็กๆนะคะแบบนี้เนาะจากนั้นก็ให้เราเนี่ยไปเลือกรูปภาพเลือกคลิปวิดีโอที่เราต้องการ
Trying
จะ
to
ตั
go
ดต่อ
outside of the boot. Hits it
ถ้าใคร
square.
อยากจะเลือกหลายๆไฟล์นะคะให้เรากด Control
Almost
เอา
not
ไว้แล้วก็
for
คลิกได้เลย
a victory thrown, but for a Knights one.
ก
And
ดค้างแบบนี้นะคะเขา
does
จะมีขึ้น
eventually.
มา
I think
ว่า
Tony Popovich was going,
เป็น
"Are your eyes
มีเดีย
painted
สอ
on,
ง
Chris?"
ป้ายแล้ว
He
ก็
was gonna get away with that
เครื่องหมาย
till
บ
the
วก
Victory
คันลอก
protested.
ตรงนี้เนาะให้เราปล่อยค่ะ
Eventually called in the end, as is a foul.
ก็อาจจะต้องรอให้เขาอัปโหลดลงในแอปพลิเคชัน KineMaster สักพักหนึ่งนะคะ ถ้าเกิดว่าใครรู้สึกว่าใช้เวลานานเกินไปเนาะที่แนะนำนะคะก็คือให้เราเอาไฟล์มีเดียทั้งหมดเนี่ยใส่ไว้ใน Google Drive เพื่อที่เราจะมากดโฟลเดอร์
Victory
Cloud Storage
edging
ตรง
ever
นี้
so
ค่ะ
closer
พอเรากดเข้าไปปุ๊บเขาจะมี
to
อี
the
เมล Google
quarterfinals
Drive
of
ให้
the
เราเลือก
FFA Cup.
นะคะ ซึ่งจากที่ทดลองดูแล้วนะการอัปโหลดจากไฟล์ Google
managed to
Drive
get
เนี่ย
across
จะเร็วกว่า
last
การ
touch
ดึงไฟล์จากคอมพิวเตอร์เข้ามาโดยตรงนะคะทีนี้นะคะก็ให้เรามาสังเกตดูค่ะว่าจะมีโฟลเดอร์อีกอันหนึ่งขึ้นมาคือโฟลเดอร์แช่โฟลเดอร์นะคะอันนี้เนี่ยพอเราคลิกเข้าไปปุ๊บ
2 goals of victory, the
จะ
only
เป็น
2
วิดี
goals
โอและรูปภาพทั้งหมด
Gold Coast Knights
ที่
have
เรา
conceded
เพิ่งอัปโหลดไว้เมื่อ
in
กี้
this year's edition
ที่เราเพิ่งลากเข้ามาในแอป KineMaster เมื่อ
of
กี้
the FFA Cup.
ทีนี้เราก็ทำการ
Carries a
เลือกรูปภา
raised
พลงใน
importance as Margiotta out wide, Lambiris, Bello
แอปนี้
continuing.
ได้เลยค่ะทำตาม
The winner
ป
of the
กติ
FFA
เลย
Cup
นะคะเหมือนที่เราทำในโทรศัพ
granted
ท์มือถือ
entrance into the Asian Cup.
เมื่อเรียบร้อยแล้วนะกด
Lambiris,
กากบาทค่ะ
diminutive forward.
โอเคจากนั้นก็ให้เราตัดต่ออะไรทุกอย่างตามปกติเลยนะคะแล้วทีนี้เนาะเดี๋ยว
Reminder,
อิงขอสาธิตการส่งออกไฟล์นะคะอิงจะลบวิดีโอนี้ออกว่ามัน
the
จะยาว
Knights have
เกิน
gone
ไป
on. They beat Taringa Rovers
วิธี
2
การ
goals
ล
to
บ
nil
นะก็ให้เรา
as
ก
they
ด
break
ที่
here.
คลิปวิดีโอนั้น
Eastern
ๆจาก
Suburbs
นั้นมา
5
กดที่
goals
รูปถังขยะ
zip as Martin collapsing
ป
in
ระมาณนี้
cramp.
นะคะจากนั้นเนี่ยถ้าเกิดว่าเราตัดต่ออะไรทุกอย่างเสร็จเรียบร้อยแล้วเนาะจะถึงขั้นตอนการส่งออกไฟล์ค่ะก็ให้เรามากดที่รูปแชร์ข้างบน
With the
นี้นะคะ
intervention.
I think Tyson Martin's got a full body cramp.
เลือก
He
ความ
has
ละเอี
indeed.
ยดเฟรมเรทแล้วก็บิตเรทตามต้องการนะคะ จากนั้นกด
He's
เซ
playing
ฟ
dead.
วิดีโอได้เลยค่ะ
That's playing dead.
เขาก็จะขึ้นมาแบบนี้เน้องให้เราสมัครรายเดือนกับรายปีนะคะ ซึ่งถ้าเราไม่สนใจเนาะเราก็กดสคิปข้างบนไปเลยค่ะ
To the round of 16 for the Knights.
ขั้น
Taringa
ตอนกา
Rovers,
รใช้งาน
2
ทุก
goals
อย่า
to
ง
nil.
นะคะจะเหมือนกับใน
Eastern
โทรศัพท์มือ
Suburbs,
ถือเลย
5
แต่
goals to nil.
อย่างที่บอกเนาะ
Holland
ว่า
Park
พอ
Hawks,
เราส่งเนี่ยเขาจะ
another
ถูก
5-0 victory. And then beat Sunshine Coast Wanderers, 4 goals to nil. For eventually in the round of 32.
I take it you're laughing at Tyson Martin, who
แล้วทีนี้
actually
เนี่ยเรา
can't
ก็
move.
มาเลือกโฟลเดอร์
You
ที่เรา
see
ต้อง
there in
การ
your
บัน
picture
ทึ
there,
ก
number 4. He's not moved for 2 minutes.
ดูในโฟลเดอร์เซฟ
He's
ไว้ใน
outstanding.
วิ
You
ดี
can
โอ
see him
เนาะ
center of
ตัด
frame.
ต่อใน KineMaster
I've
บน
got
คอ
to
มพิ
say
วเตอ
that
ร์
either way, you've got to do
ก็จะ
something.
มา
You
ถูก
can't
บัน
just
ทึก
stand
ไว้
there.
ในนี้
If I was Scott McDonald, I would
ก็จะหมด
certainly
ปัญ
not
หา
be
ว่าเรา
happy
ถ่าย
as
คลิ
a
ปวิดี
ball
โอใน
now
คอมพิว
hits
เตอ
the
ร์ให้
post
ดู
off the back of Langdon. Off the line eventually. A scramble. And how did Valupale miss that one?
Well, they've certainly had a couple of chances to put the tie beyond doubt.
Martin still static in the middle of the park. Surely you have to move forward, Tyson. Your side's surging forward here. Ingham, McDonald with a chance. Nichols, Beckwith, across the face into the body of Negro. Tyson Martin hobbling into the box.
I think someone hit his pause button and they've just gone past him now and hit play again, but yeah, I'm not so keen on that. You've got to make some effort to get back and defend.
Every player now forward.
Still don't know how they didn't score there.
Langdon in the box. Nichols, reverse pass for Schmidt.
Oh, good
To the
ball.
back post, headed down. Is it put away? Oh, to Maranovich. With the last kick of the game. You could not write it. Sending it into a different postcode in a goal mouth scramble. And an absolutely valiant effort from the Gold Coast Knights. They're unable to slay the giants that are Melbourne Victory, and their crusade through the FFA Cup comes to an end.
It's like a scene out of Dunkirk here. There's players down everywhere. There's a bit of verbal going on. Mitch Nichols and Stefan Negro, I think. I don't think the Victory are overly impressed with what happened on the set piece at the end there. I'm not really sure, but I think Lee Broxham might have got cleaned up and Jared Tyson as well. But I think it was Tyson Martin that actually had the opportunity with the header, and it was an excellent ball that was knocked in. As soon as he knocked it, I thought this is a goal-scoring opportunity. And well, they threw everything at it, Gold Coast Knights. They can be really proud of their effort. Some of the Melbourne Victory youngsters did well. Some would be, I think, a little bit disappointed in their performance, but some certainly enhance their prospects moving forward. A little bit of extra quality from Victory when it counted. They probably should have put the tie away a little bit earlier with those 2 golden chances in extra time, but I would like to see it go to penalties myself, straight away to give the semi-professional team more of an opportunity. But fantastic effort from